Executive Media. Focus, innovate, succeed.
Ikop bakube babifanani.
Olikwenda bifanani birungi. Bakukube bakwize ti oli munoni. Omukolo bagukolere.
Olina kwandula.
Olina nankani bya wedding.
Olina graduation.
Ni bobo firirwa. So kwenda kukola nankani send off decent.
Wesimbye omukalulu.
Decent.
Funaba Ikop.
Abo bulwo bayito bataako.
Tubateeko tuli kujja mu kulonda.
Era tibasasula.
Be.
Kale.
Sasula.
Olikwenda bya bululu.
Yes.
Bakukube mukuba ni poster.
Ate bana.
Mukuba poster.
Olikwenda bana.
Bana dinedo kubutundu bali. Mu poster anguli mutunigira muko chali wife.
Ani. Chali wa imazira sente. Yasina n'okumuyamba oyo omusaada. Ikop.
Eri ekindi aba Ikop.
Olikwenda poster.
Kale.
Bana. Butundu bali. Billboard. Jamba na ife aba.
Business card.
Mudikola. Nti naba akole ne ya.
Nedo debeta bolochuwa.
Bolochuwa dindi.
Bolochuwa chechimu ne business card.
Ate kalenda.
Muwandika ku t-shirt.
Follow us on Instagram at Ikop Photography or call +256 702 935 078. Don't forget, they do it smart. Book with us today.
And branding at Print Creations. From custom gift sets to unique promotional items, creative signages and general printing, we've got everything you need to elevate your brand. Visit us at Chum Towers, Suite 70 on Kuruma Road, Lighthouse, Suites D14, D15 and F13. We offer a wide range of stationery supplies, awards and a vintage collection that stands out. Call us today at 0934 893 333 or WhatsApp 0702 683 317. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and X at Print Creations. Print Creations, where quality, excellence and uniqueness meet.
The short and big shot.
Omumwa gonfukidde omumwa Zubeida. Kando night ogimanyi. Bagita kando night gwokutte gwobba.
Bawa wa sugar teyamazanye ku live.
Vamo jechiri. Vamo.
Bendera ddala.
Omusajja ate nga anakuswaza ajja kwana black sugar.
Abasajja munyiganga tebabati.
Noyingira n'atakubuuza. Ekibonyaabonya ababoda abasinga. Financial literacy. Oli abeera n'etaano ate nagenda n'akwanamu. Agala mutabani wange wakati w'emyaka alina okubanga ekyalo akikuttemu ekitundutundu.
Anayakola kimpanya n'alagako nno panda nti si wa muzannyo.
Ate kye nayagala ku ttiimu ya Mama Fiina.
Sente eziwaayo.
Naye tebasaba njawulo.
The short and big show. Abantu bajaagalira ddala. We always love you.
Hey yo, what's up my people? This is the baddest Azawi right here on Executive Media with RealTime with Mimi. Stay locked in. Yeah.
Mothers give birth, sometimes they don't have enough breast milk.
Yes.
So now...
But they told us that is normal.
It is normal. And it also contributes to Kamuli.
Why?
So remember how we remove it. It is processed and some passes through poo-poo. Now when the baby is not feeding enough, it's not passing poo-poo frequently.
Yes.
So when they don't pass poo-poo frequently, like a yellow accumulates in the body. Now when it stays there, there's an enzyme that the body uses to reverse that process so that it can create more bile for it to move. Now if
so it's important to be with breast milk.
Yes, breast milk. So it is not too bad, but we normally encourage. You have to make sure the mother is well hydrated, she's drinking enough, she's resting enough, she's eating enough so the milk can come. When the milk is there and the baby is drinking, that yellow will pass out with the poo. When she doesn't have enough, when the baby now gets dehydrated, it concentrates the bile, it concentrates the Kamuli in the blood, and then you notice the baby has yellow. And you notice baby will not be passing poo frequently.
But again, doctor, there are some mothers who have breast milk and they are feeding those babies very well, and the babies are also passing the stool.
Yes.
But again, they lose the babies at the end of the day.
Yes. So those other factors that I mentioned earlier could be infection, could be the difference in blood group, and it could be that just the normal breakdown is too much for the baby. So even if your baby is passing it, the process of changing that bilirubin is not fast enough. So normally when that happens, that's why we say once you see it, go to the hospital. Let them check. If they check and they find it is okay, they will tell you do sunbathing. If they check and they're like, this one is close to the line, this one is at the line, this one is above the line, many times we say we have to put the child in phototherapy. Now
phototherapy is there, the chitala.
The chitala, the blue light.
There is always blue light. Why do I see green?
It is blue.
It is blue. I always see green whenever I go there in the nurseries. I see green. So it's always blue.
It is blue. So the blue light, they use the skin just like the way the sun does.
So how long does a baby need to be in that photo?
So we now monitor. So we put the baby, sometimes they can spend 1 day, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 3 days, sometimes even 5 days.
It's not supposed to be removed.
So we just take out to feed and put back. You feed, you put back. There are some of them when it is too high, we say don't remove them. Mommy, pump milk and feed baby from there. Some of them, we even have to pass like a feeding tube. And we put the milk in that NG tube straight to the stomach so that we don't
Subire muli bulungi oliko executive media subscribinga likinga bomalo sharing health chat buli lwakusatu. So buli lwakusatu ku executive media tubeera ne health chat, tubeera ne Dr. Eladu ng'ayogera ku bakyala ng'atuwa ebyaffe bye tulina okutegeera. Obulwadde bwonna bwonna waliwo yampereza message ngenda leero kugibeera nga ngimubuuza naye olwaleero munzikirize mbanjulire Dr. Daniel, Dr. Pediatrician w'abaana asinga mu Uganda. So how are you, Dr. Daniel? Welcome to Executive Media. My viewers are very happy to see you. Likewise.
Yes. Thank you so much, Zubaida. I'm also happy to be here. Greetings to everyone. I am happy to be on the show today.
Okay. So, Doctor, we have an alarm about Kamuli. Do you know Kamuli?
Yes, Kamuli. That we normally refer to it as neonatal jaundice in the medical side.
Yes.
Yes. It's unfortunately something very common, and I'm happy we are talking about it
today. So why I want us to talk about Kamuli, it is becoming a norm like in Uganda, and I don't know why every mother is experiencing a baby with Kamuli. First of all, I thought it's culture, it is transmitted. Later, I thought it is bewitched. Yeah. So I just want to know, how do babies get Kamuli?
Yes. So Kamuli, it's, if we were to define it, it is an accumulation or an increase in amount of a chemical in the body. That chemical is called bilirubin. It is a byproduct of, normally you see sometimes when people have some conditions, their eyes turn yellow. That thing that makes the eyes turn yellow, that is bilirubin. So unfortunately, newborn babies also tend to get it. So medically, we call it neonatal jaundice. If we want to go a bit deeper, sometimes we call it, I jokingly say doctors like using big words, but in layman's terms, it's just accumulation of that bilirubin in the body. Now, generally, all babies get a little bit of it. All babies. Unfortunately, if it gets too high, then we tend to have a problem.
Okay.
And that is normally where now we tend to see it more clearly, and we're able to notice it a bit. And many times we have to be treated in hospital. And if we do not know what it is and how it comes about, it is very easy to think that the child has been bewitched. It's easy to think that the co-wife has put something in the drink to affect the mother. Sometimes even people say the child has been poisoned.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a natural phenomenon, and we're going to talk about it today, how it comes about, how you can recognize it, and finally, how can we treat it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So is it transmitted from the mother?
So usually what happens is all babies, when we're in the womb, we are not breathing using our lungs. Everything that we are getting is from the umbilical cord.
Yes.
That connects to the placenta. And children get the nutrients from the mother, they get oxygen from the mother, and the mother helps them remove some waste products also. Now, in order for that to happen, the body makes very many red blood cells. The baby's body makes a lot of red blood cells. So there are you hear doctors saying HB, which is normally hemoglobin. It is just the amount of ability of that child, our bodies, to carry oxygen and other things. So for newborn babies and babies in the womb, that concentration is very high to help them get enough oxygen so that the body can develop, the energy can be there for them to kick and play inside there and grow. Now when babies are born, the body doesn't need all those many red blood cells, because now we are breathing on our own. The lungs are now working very well, because inside there, all the blood that was going to the lung was just to help it grow, mature, but not to do the work of the lungs of breathing. Now when they come out into the world, they must breathe. So as they're breathing, now their blood is very thick. So the body is like, too much blood is also not good. Let us remove it. So these red blood cells start getting broken down by the body, because the body doesn't want the excess. Now in the breakdown, that thing they call the HB, it is a chemical that has iron and protein that helps us carry the oxygen. Now when it breaks down, it's released. So it starts to be broken down by the body. But the first part of breakdown doesn't happen in the liver, it happens outside. So when that first breakdown happens, it goes through some processes, but it creates that chemical, bilirubin. Now that bilirubin, you hear doctors and nurses say, unconjugated, which is a very fancy way of saying it has not yet been processed. So when the body processes it, it has to go through the liver, and when it enters the liver, it is processed in a way that we can remove it through bile in the poo-poo, or through what makes our urine yellow, which is another fancy term they like, but it's normally, those are the two ways in which we remove it from our body, either through stool or through urine. Now, their liver, they have been there receiving all the food, everything is done for them. They come outside, and now you have to control and start doing all the functions that the liver does, breaking down this, forming that, making sure that the glucose is okay, storing, things like that. So when this process of breaking down that chemical, the liver is not ready for it. So the blood brings those products, it enters the liver, it tries to work, but it's unable to collect all of them. It's like if they give you a net and they're pouring balls and you have to collect balls, you may miss. If you don't have a big net, the balls will pass. So it gets back into the body. Now that one that has not yet been processed can be dangerous for the baby. It flows through the body, and the first place it likes to go is to the head. And in the head, the area that it affects is the brain. Now, before it reaches that level where it's a problem, you start noticing some changes in the child.
Like?
You see the eyes are turning yellow.
Yes.
You see, it starts normally around the eyes first, then it moves from the face going down into the body, into the chest, into the whole body, into finally, if you start noticing that yellow in the palms, it means it's very high. Because normally when you're pouring this one, when you first pour it, normally it starts from down going up. But for this one, it's the reverse. It starts pouring from up going down. Now, if it is too much, it affects a part of the brain that can cause some complications. And those complications are mentioned a bit later. So now when that accumulation starts, that body is fighting to try to bring it down.
Yes.
One of the ways God helped us is we can sometimes fight if it's not so bad. If it doesn't reach a certain level, it can change on its own. So you've seen parents, grandparents taking the children out in the sun in the morning. So interestingly, in Africa, we do not have the scientific knowledge of why we take babies out into the sun. But when we started doing it, they start telling me, now we have to, when should we start taking baby out into the sun? And it is in the back of our knowledge that actually it is to help treat this one. It was the modern day treatment of jaundice was actually discovered by a nurse when she noticed that the children that were sleeping close to the window, they had less jaundice than those that were sleeping further inside. And then she started, when she discussed it with the doctors, and that's how they started. This was back in the 1940s, 1930s. So when that came about, they developed ways on how to treat it efficiently. So when the sunlight hits our body, that morning sun, you notice it's not very hot. It is just a nice warm feeling. When it hits our skin, there is a way, what comprises morning sun, which is different from the rest. It has a level of blue light, because you know the sun, the light we get from the sun is white light. So it means it has all the spectrum, blue, red, green, all of them are in it. Where we do the rainbow in those science experiments, how the rainbow comes, all those colors are there. But
in that morning sun.
That morning sun, even all day. But now in the morning in particular, because of the way the sun is rising, the blue one tends to come a bit more. Now when that blue one comes, what makes the sky blue anyway? That blue light is now when it falls on the skin of the baby. Because the skin is a bit transparent, the light enters in and starts shining, and it starts to do the process that the liver should be doing. So it processes that bilirubin from one that cannot dissolve in water to one that can dissolve in water. So when that happens, it goes through. Now it passes in the poo-poo. You'll notice when it comes, baby's poo-poo will become green almost. It was green, turned yellow, now it's back to green. And the urine becomes very conk. Now that process is being done by the skin, and it's through now when it reaches the liver, the liver is like, you've collected my balls. Now for you, just go straight for removal.
So the sun can treat jaundice?
Treats it, but it's not enough. So, you know, in that morning sun, it's usually about 1 or 2 hours only. Sometimes it is raining, sometimes it is cloudy, so the children may not get. And you also don't want to put the baby outside in the cold for long. So we normally say there's a way you should carry them. The sun should come, but you should have like a blanket, but the body should be exposed. Now, when we notice that the yellow is there, we always say we have to do a blood test.
Blood test?
Yes. So they take some blood and they look and see, is the level high? Because I told you all babies get it, but depending on the level,
all mothers,
all babies that are born will get a little bit of the jaundice.
Why?
Because of that process, the clearing of those extra red blood cells. Now, if that clearing is too much, then it will cause it to go up. But there are other things that can make it more, that accelerate it more than it should. And one of those ones is when there's a difference in blood group.
Blood group?
Yes. So we know there are 4 main blood groups.
Yes.
A, B, O, and then AB. Now, what makes these blood groups interesting is when you have blood group A, they have 2 things, something that can show that this is a particular blood group, and then they also make antibodies that fight the different blood group.
Yes.
So A shows that I am A, but it fights B. B shows I am B, but it fights A. AB have both that show I am A and B, and I fight both A and B. Or they don't have anything to show anything. They don't have the showers, but they have the ones that fight. So when we give blood, when we do the blood transfusion, they tell you, people that are blood group O give blood to everybody.
Everyone, yes.
But they can only receive blood from O because they have those antibodies that can fight. If you bring A, be like, why is A coming? Yeah, it fights A. If you bring B, it fights B. If you bring A, B, it fights both of them. When you bring O, there's nobody to fight. It accepts, it moves. That's why A, B for them, because they show everybody, we are here. When you give them A, they receive. When you give them B, they receive. When you give them O, they receive. Now, those antibodies that do the fighting, they're floating in the blood. So many times when a mother is blood group O,
yes,
and the father is a different blood group, either A, B, or AB. When the baby, when genetics happen, baby is being formed, the baby can come out, it might be, if the father is, let's say, A, and mother is O, baby may come out A. Because A and B are dominant. So they have this thing where they that's why when they're together, they can be A and B. But when O comes, this one will take power and it will show. Now when A is there, the mother's blood is, the placenta and the uterus don't mix. But things can cross. Oxygen crosses, carbon dioxide crosses, glucose crosses. But then also those antibodies that do the fighting can cross. So now remember, mommy is O. Those ones that say that for us, we are only O, we receive from O. They cross and enter into the baby. And they find someone who is A. They're like, what is A doing here? They start to fight. The body naturally destroys the extra, but if it starts to destroy it too fast, then the jaundice can even appear on the first day. Yes. So many times we tell mothers, if you're blood group O, make sure you talk to the doctor and you tell the doctor, for me I'm O, especially for the husband's blood group also. Sometimes it may be very little and you don't need any treatment. Sometimes it can be a lot and you actually have to put some treatment. So when that happens, we encourage that we have to let the doctors know early. In fact, we start to think about it. So many times when we have mothers that have had cesarean, they stay a bit longer in hospital. Yes. So it's sometimes easy to catch because by the time you're thinking of going home, then we are seeing it already. But for mothers that deliver normally, after one day you go home. And
we see it when we are home.
When you are home. And because there are sometimes other pressures at home, things and this, sometimes the hospital is far. Advices also. Yes. And people be like, don't worry, I've had this thing, you go, just don't worry, just put in the sun. And yet the level is too much. So even if you put in the sun, it will not do it fast enough. So when we notice that is happening, then we start saying, we have to have a sense of urgency, a sense that we need to rush and say, we have to come back and we check. Now, sometimes we have saved up, we have delivered in a good hospital, we're very happy. Yes. And then they tell you, no, you're going back. It can also be demoralizing for some parents. And then now you're like, but now this is going to cost money.
Yes, you think of nursery fees.
Exactly. So we normally encourage parents, we have to have the conversation early. And we also plan. So if mommy is O, daddy is A, first baby we had jaundice, we ended up in under the phototherapy, which we will talk about, or in nursery. When we have another baby, we should think about it. We should plan for it, not only the delivery, and think about life after delivery.
So the first baby can be affected?
Yes, so the first baby can be affected, even the second baby can be affected. So normally when there's a difference in blood group, it tends to happen a lot. The third one is, there's this thing we call Rhesus factor. Someone is O plus, O minus, A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus. That plus or minus, we call it Rhesus. It is a marker that is also there in the blood group. So now this one affects mothers that are their thing is minus. It means they don't have that factor.
We have people who are plus and negative.
Yeah. Now the ones that are negative tend to be also suffer from jaundice. Their children. So if mommy is N minus and daddy is B plus, baby comes out AB plus. Or let's say mommy is O minus, daddy is B plus, and baby comes out B plus. The first baby, usually it's okay. But the problem with that first pregnancy is her body will now create antibodies that fight against a plus. So if the next baby comes out and they're also plus, her body is going to attack the baby. And it can sometimes lead to miscarriage, can sometimes lead to early delivery. Sometimes the children have some other conditions and they can even die in the womb before time. Or if they are born, they can also have some complications, which one of them is that jaundice, Kamuli, can also be there. So many times if mom is minors, we always encourage them getting an injection during pregnancy and then one when they deliver, so that it helps to protect them from creating those antibodies.
That injection, is it anti-D?
Anti-D.
It protects from Kamuli?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it is protecting the mother.
It protects the mother from creating those antibodies that will now affect the next pregnancy. So we keep giving it so that we keep protecting the mother.
The next pregnancy,
Yes.
not this pregnancy
Yes,
that she's having.
Yes. So even when we give in this current pregnancy, it helps if the baby is producing the plus, those antibodies. This one, shields. So the mother, it will mop it up, prevent it. So when she delivers, we give again.
Okay.
So that even if she gets one, the children will not get, that child will not get immediately. And even the next one
is going to be protected.
Is going to be protected. So many times we end up giving them every time they are pregnant. So that we keep protecting them.
Okay.
Because someone can say, for me, I want to have 5 children. Now, if you don't give in the first one, these other 4 will suffer. The first one may be okay, but this one may suffer. So many times we encourage, I always tell my mothers, please, it's never wrong to ask questions. Ask questions. Because it is your life. It's very important.
And that's the problem with mothers. They don't ask.
Yes. So even if you feel something is not okay, you say, doctor, they said this, or I've had someone say this. You make sure you talk about it. Even when it comes to the child, you see, this child doesn't seem okay. Is there something wrong? We'd rather ask and we tell you everything is okay than you don't ask and then something becomes very big and escalates and then we must now intervene to it. So those are some of the things that can cause. One other normal cause of Kamuli is infection.
Infections.
Yes. So if the baby gets an infection, either, when we're giving birth, the birth canal has bacteria. Now that bacteria is meant to protect the mother, so it prevents things like candida and whatnot. But those bacteria, as the baby is passing, especially if she has had a UTI or had a discharge and things like that, those infections can enter into the baby. Now the baby's immunity is very weak. So it's even something that is not a problem for mommy,
it can be a problem to a baby.
For the baby. Now when those infections enter the body, they also destroy the red blood cells. And the more they destroy, the more the jaundice increases. So many times we have a graph that we use to follow. From the time the baby is born up to about 5 days, the graph keeps rising. Our interest is for the level of that bilirubin, that yellow, should be below the graph. It should not come close to the graph or go above the graph. That's why we always encourage that the baby should, if you notice the yellow, go and let them check the baby, let them do a blood test.
And they see.
Yes. Another thing that happens when mothers give birth, sometimes they don't have enough breast milk.
Yes.
So now.
But they told us that is normal.
It is normal. And it also contributes to Kamuli.
Why?
So remember how we remove it. It is processed and some passes through poo-poo. Now when the baby is not feeding enough, it's not passing poo-poo frequently.
Yes.
So when they don't pass poo-poo frequently, the yellow accumulates in the body. Now when it stays there, there's an enzyme that the body uses to reverse that process so that it can create more bile for it to move. Now, if
it's important to be with breast milk.
Yes, breast milk. So it is not too bad, but we normally encourage. You have to make sure the mother is well hydrated, she's drinking enough, she's resting enough, she's eating enough so the milk can come. When the milk is there and the baby is drinking, that yellow will pass out with the poo-poo. When she doesn't have enough, when the baby now gets dehydrated, it concentrates the bile, it concentrates the Kamuli in the blood, and then you notice the baby has yellow. And you notice baby will not be passing poo-poo frequently.
But again, doctor, there are some mothers who have breast milk and they are feeding those babies very well, and the babies are also passing the stool.
Yes.
But again, they lose the babies at the end of that day.
Yes. So those other factors that I mentioned earlier could be infection, could be the difference in blood group, and it could be that just the normal breakdown is too much for the baby. So even if your baby is passing it, the process of changing that bilirubin is not fast enough. So normally when that happens, that's why we say once you see it, go to the hospital. Let them check. If they check and they find it is okay, they will tell you do sunbathing. If they check and they're like, this one is close to the line, this one is at the line, this one is above the line, many times we say we have to put the child in phototherapy. Now
phototherapy is there, the chitala.
The chitala, the blue light.
There is always blue light. Why do I see green?
It is blue.
It is blue. I always see green whenever I go there in the nurseries. I see green.
So
it's always blue.
It is blue. So the blue light, they use the skin just like the way the sun does.
So how long does a baby need to be in that photo?
So we now monitor. So we put the baby, sometimes they can spend 1 day, sometimes 2 days, sometimes 3 days, sometimes even 5 days.
It's not supposed to be removed.
So we just take out to feed and put back. You feed, you put back. There are some of them when it is too high, we say don't remove them. Mommy, pump milk and feed baby from there. Some of them, we even have to pass like a feeding tube. And we put the milk in that NG tube straight to the stomach so that we don't disturb baby at all. Because we have to make sure that they maximize the time in the light. In modern places now we have machines that give light in 2 places, from down and from up.
Yes.
So that the baby can clear it much faster.
Do we have them here?
Yes.
In Uganda?
Yes, we do. Even at TMR here we have. And many places have them as well. But if they don't have that one, it is okay. They can even just use one from up. But it has to be intense so that we can clear. Now that blue light, many people say, but this one is going to make my baby black and things like that. It can sometimes make, in the long run, some children, their shade may change a little bit, but it's not such a big thing. What we worry about is we make sure we cover the eyes, because it's like someone looking into the sun, into the light. So we cover the eyes of the baby. But normally, the children are okay. Yeah,
are they comfortable when you cover their eyes?
So in the first few hours, they're not happy. In the first few hours. So normally when you start it, the children will not be happy. They will fight, they will cry, but eventually when they calm down, they're full, they start to sleep. When they are uncomfortable, you turn them, you just keep tapping them a bit, you soothe them, they fall back asleep. Some of them even start enjoying being in there because it's warm.
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll just stay there. But the first one, because the eyes are closed, they want to open. Now, eyes are closed. Usually they're used to being carried. Now they're just lying down. They want to be carried. So the children will tend to cry. But normally if we bypass those first 6 to 12 hours, they normally get used to it. When the blood groups are different, the first line of treatment is that phototherapy. But then sometimes it's not enough. If the level is too high, sometimes we have to now start thinking of other ways of treatment. Now, when we check the blood, today, let's say baby was at 19.
Yes.
We start phototherapy, jaundice is not improving, we check the level, we are above the line. After 2 days, we check from 19, we are down to 14 or even 13. And the other one is still high. Then I know that the breakdown is too fast. Sometimes we have to give some medication. In the vein, there's a common one that we use, but it's a bit expensive. It's called, the abbreviation is IVIG.
IVIG.
Yes. The full name is intravenous immunoglobulin. Yes, so in essence, what it means is it is given in the vein, IV, intravenous, like the way we give a cannula. It's in the vein, and the immunoglobulin means it is a product of the immunity. So we normally collect these antibodies from people, the human. So someone would sometimes they donate blood and then they re-engineer to look just for particular antibodies to help us fight some infection. Remember the time when we had Ebola, when we had COVID, there were some people who gave their blood so that they could understand how their immunity was working. So it's that other immunoglobulin that they use. So it goes and now looks for the antibody that mommy sent into the baby to bind to it so that it stops destroying the red blood cells. So we need to stop it. The ones that have already been destroyed, the phototherapy treats. In the past, and sometimes even now, we do what is called extra major blood vessel. So as we are taking out some blood, we do it slowly. So we now have a level here, like we are too high. Now we start exchanging. So we take out some blood. We can do like maybe 10 mils. As we take out that 10, we put in 10 of new blood.
Okay.
Then we take out 10 and put in 10 like that. So you know, like when you have concentrated quencher,
yes,
and you're trying to change. So you pour, you remove, you pour until it dilutes, until it's clear. So after we have done that, then we check the blood again. So it has the level reduced. Have we diluted it enough? If we do that, then we're happy. So normally that one is reserved for when it's now, we're afraid it's going to start affecting the brain. The biggest problem in affecting the brain is it causes what we call cerebral palsy.
So cerebral palsy is
one of the causes
by Kamuli.
Yes, one of the causes is cerebral palsy. There's a lady I know whose daughter got it in that way. And so she's a strong advocate for it. So we normally say if you notice it, we have to treat it because it can cause cerebral palsy, but it can also lead the child to die.
So doctor, you don't see it earlier that the brain is damaged?
So normally what happens is when we check the level, that's why we use the graphs a lot. The first graph is to see, are we going to use the blue light? If the level passes that one for blue light, there's a second graph now to see, is it going to affect the brain? So if it's a type that affects the brain, that's now when we do the exchange of the blood. So normally that's what we are trying to prevent. So if we catch it early, we try to treat it in this level. That's why the first few days are very important. Treat it there, and afterwards, the rest will be okay.
So, doctor, does Kangaroo work?
So Kangaroo does not help with Kamuli, but it does help with the children. It's important for the child to.
But do you know that they're telling mothers that Kangaroo works for Kamuli?
No, it does not help. So Kangaroo, what we call skin to skin, is normally used for preterm babies, but we can also use it for slightly older babies, especially in the first few days. So it has very many benefits, especially for the preterm baby. It has very many. The first one that it does, it helps to keep the baby warm. It's like an incubator. It's like the baby is coming back inside.
Yeah, so when it helps to keep the baby warm, yet you put them in the other phototherapy. It can also treat. Why doesn't it treat? It doesn't have the blue.
No, it doesn't have the blue light. Yeah, so it just helps generate your body warmth is what goes to the baby, so that the baby doesn't have to use energy to keep warm. You're already having, it's like when it's cold, you have to put on a sweater. But when it is warm, you don't have to put on a sweater. Now that process for them is similar, like putting on a sweater. The body has to break down to generate heat. So it prevents the baby from gaining weight. So they tend to be small. But when you do Kangaroo, all that they are feeding is now going for storage and other things, so they don't use it up.
Okay.
The second one is it helps with attachment and bonding. So babies attached to the mother, they hear the heartbeat of the mother, which is slower than theirs. It helps to calm them down. But remember, they were in the womb, they're also hearing mommy's heartbeat. So it reminds them of the time when they were still nice and safe inside. So it helps them calm down. It also helps provide your immune system. So we all have bacteria, like I mentioned. Now we want the baby to have your bacteria. Because your bacteria are protecting you. So we want your bacteria to be transferred to it, so that it enters their skin, it covers them properly and keeps them safe. There are very many. If you open Kangaroo, should be its own topic. It is very important.
I thought it treats Kamuli.
No,
so that's nice. I think even other mothers were thinking like maybe because most of the old women in the villages tell them that you do Kangaroo, Kamuli will be treated well. So Oliko Executive Media subscribing liking abajita health chat. Lero Dr. Ali mukwogera ku Kamuli ngenda kubamba temera mu nga tugenda okumaliriza because the language, so it is me to translate for you. Producer oyakuwumulamuko. Okay. So tugenda maaso Dr. tukyamulina wano eno akyayogera ku Kamuli. Kangaroo tajjanjaba Kamuli. Era tebabeereyo ne bakulimba. Dokita agambye bw'olaba omwana nga atandise okutandinga yero genda mu ddwaliro basooke bamukebere balabe Kamuli ali ku level ki, kuba bw'onaalwayo omwana ajja kufuna cerebral palsy, ajja kufuna brain damage. Obwongo bujja kufuula abo abaana abalina cerebral palsy oyinza okukakana nga n'owaali bw'atyo. So I was trying to translate for them so that we can be on the same page.
Yeah.
So doctor, when I've had a normal delivery and I see my baby is turning yellow, if I use the normal ways of treating Kamuli, when should I not exceed like 5 days? Or if I say I've exceeded 5 days as a mother, a new mother, I've exceeded 5 days without seeing any signs of yellow, does it give me any chance of knowing that now I'm free from Kamuli?
So if we don't have any signs and also no risk factor.
Yes.
So if mommy's blood group O, daddy's blood group O, or mommy's B, A or AB, those are the ones. There's no risk factor. There was no infection. There was no trauma to the baby. You know, some babies that have like a swelling of thing on the head.
The head.
Yeah, any redness or anything like. None of those are there. And we have done sunbathing, and the yellow is not there. Then there you don't worry. Okay. But the moment you see, I normally tell mothers when the baby is born, I want you to look at that. When they open the eyes, you see the white part, and you cram it. So that is the color you cram. Like this white has to look like that. So now when you start seeing like a white is not so white, it's looking a bit yellow, it's not so clear like that, that normally means it is starting. But we normally say we look at the skin. There's an important test. We normally say you can put a finger like this and press for just a few seconds and release. If you don't see pink but you see yellow coming very quickly, then there you know the Kamuli is there.
Doctor, repeat for me. You press here.
You press here, and you count 1, 2, 3, you release. So normally when you do it, the color comes back. But if the color doesn't come back immediately, it looks like someone has painted like a yellow before the color comes back. That is one of the tests. You can also do it on the nose. You can also do it on the chest to see. But many times it is not the most reliable, but it helps us to sort of
at least
to look and see. Sometimes it may be hard to leave home at that particular time. One of the things I also say is that don't use yellow light.
Where?
At home. You know, sometimes our lights are yellow.
Yes,
right? Yeah. Some have white light. So normally we say don't use yellow light because it
can also bring.
No, it doesn't bring, but you may not notice it.
Oh, because you're having yellow.
Yes. And that's why they would tell us don't cover the baby in a yellow cloth.
Hey, that's why you sent all the, you no longer accept those.
Those yellow ones, we don't want it. Because the yellow will not cause the Kamuli, but it will hide it. You will not notice. So when you put yellow and yellow, you may not notice.
Yes.
But if you have yellow and blue, you'll be like, or yellow and white, yellow and brown, you may say, this one, there's a problem with the skin of the baby, there's a problem with the eyes of the baby. But if everything is yellow, it reflects the yellow, so you don't see, like, this one is fine. By the time you realize it's too much. And now this one we have to do those.
But in the first place, you didn't explain to us, the doctors, why you no longer allow yellow clothes in the hospital.
Yes, we no longer allow yellow clothes because normally the yellow hides it. You don't see it, the mother will not see it, the grandmother will not see it, the father will not see it, the midwife will not see it, even the doctor may not see it.
Because of the yellow.
Yes, the background is affecting. So we will always want things, colors that are either blue, pink, white. Yes, those are the colors we like. But yellow in particular, normally when the child is a bit older, above 1 month, then there we can go with our yellow. Because some parents like color yellow, so you allow them. But normally we want in the first month, no, we don't.
No using yellow. So, doctor, how can we at least curb the rate of babies we are losing?
Yes. So, number one is information.
Information
is very important, and I appreciate executive media for this, because we're able to get the information. Even someone who has not been able to go to the hospital and get the information, they may be young today and not be able to have children, but when they get married, they will have the knowledge that this thing happens, it can be treated, and I don't have to lose my child to this.
And no one has bewitched your child.
Exactly. So, and also when we give information, we empower.
Yes.
Not only the mothers, but also there are some fathers that require empowerment to know that we will not just take it like that, we will go and ask. Sometimes, even as healthcare workers, we require, there are things that sometimes they may forget to tell you. But when you're thinking about it, you will be able to ask, and then they'll be like, hey, by the way, yes, they can now explain. But if you're not thinking about it and they forget, then it becomes a problem. That's why we normally encourage, be free, talk to the doctor, talk to the midwife. When you have such information, refresh, spread the word, make sure you share, you let people know. Be like, it is not a death sentence when this happens. So when we have the information, we have empowered our mothers, we have empowered our families, and they know that Kamuli can happen on any child.
Yes.
But there is treatment, and the treatment to prevent complications, treatment to prevent death. The numbers will start to go down.
Yes.
I'm happy at least many people now are getting smartphones, they're getting information. We also have ChatGPT, Gemini, all these people, you can ask them things. But it is also important when the information is structured. Because even us as doctors, we sometimes go to Google to look for something. How I get that information and how a mother gets that information are different.
Yes.
So because I have the training, I'll be able to know which one will work and which one will not work. But because Google is also meant for us also. So that way I know what the Americans are doing. But as parents, it is good to ask some of this information. But always I encourage, we must have information, ask questions. Take your time with the doctor, make sure by the time you leave, you're comfortable with the information. And normally when I end my consultation, I ask them, do you have any questions? Because it can be something small, you might have a small idea, and that idea can actually save the baby.
Okay.
So the role of the mother and parents are very important in the care of the child.
Okay. So I know mwana omuladde wa Kamuli oba gwe maama agenda okuzaala, Dr. agambye Kamuli ajjanjabwa ate era asobolera ddala okuwona. Tewali abayaloga mwana, wabula olina okumanya omwana ki ekimuluma ekituufu. Obeere ne badokita bakuyambeko okubeera nga bakujjanjabira Kamuli. So doctor, I think it is a bit expensive to treat Kamuli.
Not so expensive. Not too expensive.
Because I'm thinking when you're not in a very good hospital with good equipment, you may lose the baby.
Yes. So if it is not treated, it can lead to death, it can lead to cerebral palsy. So normally when we say you notice it and you see it there, always, I know sometimes our government hospitals can be very crowded.
Yes, very.
I had the privilege of working in Kawempe. I was able to see, we would see Kawempe mothers would deliver between 80 to 120 babies every day. And
the nursery is always full.
We have about 20 admissions to the nursery every day. And even those that are already staying in longer, those that are preterm, those that have infection, those that have complications. So that risk is there. However, the midwives are well trained and they know how to identify. Even the doctors that are there, the intern doctors, the resident doctors, and the pediatricians, the neonatologists, they're very well trained and they know how to do it. If you do go to a place and you find it's a bit expensive and you cannot afford, let them give you the information, let them print out the report for you, and you can go to a place that you find it's a bit affordable. You can do Kawempe, you can do Mengo, Rubaga, you can do Chibuli, you can do in Zambia. The private non-for-profit religious hospitals they also have the ability to treat. So we normally encourage, if the important thing is to know what the problem is. So if you can go somewhere, they test and they say this is the level and it is high, then and you look and the budget is not budgeting, go somewhere where they will treat the child. It may not be as comfortable as where you want to be,
but at least you're getting treatment.
You get the treatment, and you will be able to save the child.
Okay.
Sometimes if it comes very quickly, normally the ones I tell mothers, if you notice the yellow within the first day, even if you've been discharged and you get home and you see you've just reached home, you're unpacking and you notice pack again and go back. Because those ones are the bad ones. The ones that come a bit slowly, day 3, day 4, day 5, those ones are not so bad. But the ones that come very quickly, those ones have to be handled quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, we are praying that one day as a country, some of these tests will be so routine that every place where babies are born, we can easily, 1, check the baby's blood group, 2, check the level and things like that. There are new technologies that are there, but they're still a bit expensive on how to detect early. But we do hope that in time, we'll be able to have such things that can check it even without testing blood. That they can just, it's a machine you just press and it can detect. Hopefully one day it will be as common as checking for malaria. Yeah.
So Dr. Daniel yagala kumwerekereza, but again munzikirize nze nammwe tumubuuze lwaki tuyina ba prematures bangi ennaku zino, bamaama bangi abazaala abaana abatatuuse. I don't know if it's about how we eat, how our normal routines, but we are having a lot of prematures in the country. And we are losing babies due to premature. And there is something, doctor, I want to ask. They told me an 18 months old baby cannot survive, but the 8 months old baby cannot survive. 7 months old baby can survive. So I'm not getting the logic.
Yeah. So when prematurity comes, we look at a number of things. But in Uganda, as of now, the minimum age of survival, we doctors, we like weeks. It helps us accumulate properly. So usually, even in government institutions, children that are from 28 weeks, that one, if we convert it, it's about 7 months, 6 months there. If we use the actual date, it's about 7 months. But when you calculate, in a way, it can reduce. I think Dr. Elado would talk better on that one.
Yes.
But from 28 weeks upwards, those babies can survive in Uganda, even in the government hospitals, even in private hospitals. The thing with prematurity is that it comes with complications. This is someone who is on a journey of being formed, and the journey has been interrupted. So now we have to support them to complete the journey outside.
Yes.
So there are very many complications that come with it. The first complication is breathing.
Yes.
So because they are there in the womb, they expect their oxygen to come from the cord. They've taken it away. Now they have to
machines.
breathe. Yeah. So many times their lungs are not quite ready to breathe. There's a chemical that the lungs produce. All of us have it in our lungs that help us breathe comfortably. It's called surfactant. So they don't have it. Many times as the mothers are having these complications that lead to prematurity. One of them is preeclampsia, that one, high pressure in pregnancy. Sometimes it's infection. Sometimes there's actually an interesting thing. Sometimes even having sex during pregnancy towards the end there can trigger labor. And I think Dr. Elado should elaborate on that one next time.
I'm going to ask him.
I've seen it in up country. Some mothers go into labor because of unprotected sex towards the end. You know, normally for when you reach term, when you reach when baby is ready to come out from 38 weeks, the doctors encourage you to go and be with your husband so that it can trigger the labor pain to come, because the semen has a chemical called prostaglandin which triggers that thing. Now, for some it can release it early. Some mothers are a bit more sensitive, so when they reach around 28 weeks, 30 weeks, it can trigger it and preterm labor begins. But there are very many other things. being on things like border towards the end there, on very bumpy roads. There are very many things, and I think Dr. Ladu will take time to talk about it more. But there are things that come. Now from on my side, I want the baby too.
The baby.
When the baby comes out, I have to deal with them.
Yes.
And one of the ways we deal with them is when we get the baby coming out early. Breathing is the number one complication we have. So they have that issue with breathing. So we do the oxygen, but not just plain oxygen. We have to use a machine called CPAP, which is called continuous positive airway pressure. You're breathing, it's giving you oxygen, but it's giving you oxygen with pressure. So the sac, air sac will receive, you breathe in, but it will not close completely. You know, when you have a balloon and you're blowing, the first part of blowing the balloon, you use a lot of energy to get it to swell. The next one is easy. Same with our lungs. Getting in air the first time is hard, so it uses a lot of energy to open. Then when you breathe out, if it closes again, it's like letting the air out completely out of the balloon, then you start. So you use a lot of energy, and they start to breathe very hard. You see the child breathing not so well. I think my little Luganda on the matter was Omwana Tasabulunji. Child is not breathing well. That little I remember. So that one, you notice it and you're like, they're using too much. And so the CPAP helps with that one, but that's just step 1. 2, sometimes you have to give the surfactant, that chemical. So it's a bit expensive. We pour it into the lungs so the lungs can get, and we still put on CPAP. Sometimes they may fail completely to breathe properly, and we have to put them on the life support, the mechanical ventilation to breathe for the child, because now they cannot breathe and they're not getting enough oxygen, the whole body fails. Complication 2, sometimes because they're born early, the heart is not, because the heart has to have holes in it to allow us survive in the womb, because we're not breathing up here. Sometimes those holes are too big. So when they come outside, they start to struggle a bit. So that one, they require oxygen and they require some medication. Sometimes if we don't diagnose it early, we fail to treat it, and then the children end up with complications that may need surgery, or sometimes may end up with them dying. The third one is infection. Infection, I know we say it's NICU, neonatal ICU.
Yeah, but
it's clean, you have a mask,
it is
you're
very
covering.
Clean, you're very principled. No one is entering. When you're entering, they cover you, wash your hands. But again, where does the infection come from?
Now we have germs everywhere. The bacteria and the viruses are everywhere. Even when we clean the surfaces and do everything, these germs still find a way. And when they come in, these babies' bodies are young, the immunity is weak. So what for us may not even cause infection, for them it will be something very serious. So infection is one of the main things. So we give them antibiotics to treat and make sure we clear and kill off some of these infections. They also get Kamuli. The preterm babies, and theirs is they get it longer because the body is much smaller. Just a little bit of that bilirubin in the body has a very big response in them.
So where do they get it from? Yet they are in the NICU.
Remember how I mentioned the breakdown of the red blood cells? It will also happen for them.
Wow.
The other thing is that also when infection comes in, it also breaks it down further. So they will get it. So for the preterms, we anticipate that it's going to happen, and because they're going to stay longer with us, we start the treatment sometimes early. The other thing is they may also their blood may fail to clot because they don't have enough factors for clotting. So they tend to bleed. One of the places they bleed is the brain. So
they bleed from the brain.
Yeah, into the brain. So we look out for it. So that's why managing these preterms, because they're becoming more, we are starting to see. In the past, many of these children would be born and they were not, the knowledge on how to keep them and treat them was very little. So these children would die very quickly. And someone will tell you, I miscarried at 7 months, I miscarried at 6 months. Baby was born, but could not survive. But now...
So do you see it before? When the baby is born, you monitor the baby. Do you see that you might lose the baby?
So there are those that are very sick, that we can see that this one is starting to have complications very early. The breathing is not okay, we're having problems with the heart, we're having a big infection, we're having some anomaly in the blood and things like that. So we do some tests, we check their blood, we do some scans, we are active in looking for problems for these ones. We say where will the problem come? And one of the other problems they also have is feeding. Now remember, if a mother delivers at 7 months, sometimes the milk is not enough. Now the baby, we are struggling to get milk for this baby. So sometimes these infections go into the stomach. And then they cause an infection in the intestines, which we call necrotizing enterocolitis. It's a very common cause of death in the preterm baby. The tummy starts to swell, they're full of gas, and then sometimes it causes the intestines to even rupture and burst. And then the child is very, very sick. So we now look out for these ones very actively. So we check the head, we do a scan in the brain to see is there bleeding? No, very good. 2, we check the stomach. Is the baby passing poo-poo? Baby is not passing poo-poo, is there a problem? Is there a complication inside that we need to treat? Baby is not breathing well. Is everything okay with the lungs? Is everything okay with the heart? So we look actively for what could, because what can cause problems. And that's why now the mortality has improved. Unfortunately, it seems frequent, the number of mothers having preterm babies have increased, but it's also because many of them are surviving. They're not dying in the delivery room. So because the baby is surviving now, we're having the issue of very many preterms.
Yes, but again, when they come to your side, then we lose the babies.
Sometimes we do lose them because it is a very tricky, it's a balance.
Yeah.
So
and very expensive to mothers.
That is one of the things. We will grow as a nation to try to improve our care for the newborn, but it is a slow process.
Yes.
So we now, Ministry of Health has started neonatal audits. Any baby that dies in the first 30 days, we have to audit and see, was there something we missed? Could this baby have been saved? Because there are sometimes things that we cannot save.
Yes.
There are some defects in the heart that without immediate care that sometimes we do not even have in the country, the baby may not survive. Some babies are born with problems in the head. They have very bad defects in the head. Some have complications in the stomach. So because of all those things, we sometimes lose the babies. But there are those that we should not lose. There are those that we can prevent the death. And those are the ones we are fighting to save. If we can save those ones, then these complicated ones also now, when we are sorted here,
you will come back to this side. Yes. So doctor, can a premature baby be operated?
Yes. We have operated even here at TMR.
They can be taken to theatre?
Yes. Even at TMR here, we had a baby a few years ago that was operated. She's now 3 years old.
Wow.
She had some complications. She was born, we got problems, we operated, and we were able to save her. And she's alive. So being small is not it will not stop us from having
operating.
Yes,
I thought they are not operating.
We have very good surgeons, pediatric surgeons that have moved forward, even in Mulago. Some of them are operated.
Okay, so we want to thank Dr. Daniel for the time. Thank you so much. Maybe next time I would love to talk about ulcers.
In children.
Yes, in children.
Yes, that is
because it is also disturbing parents.
Yes.
We will be happy for another chance. Now I want you, doctor, to say goodbye to my viewers in Uganda. They will be happy.
Veda, you put me on the spot. You put me on the spot.
You tell them, mwebale kulaba.
Mwebale kulaba. Please give me the words.
Mwebale kulaba Executive Media.
Mwebale kulaba Executive Media.
Nze Dr. Daniel.
Nze Dr. Daniel.
Owa nzijanjaba abaana. Ako kubadde tukamanyi? You don't know it?
That one I have. Owa zinjaba.
Ojanjaba abaana.
Ojanjaba abaana.
You're at TMR Hospital. Ndi ku TMR.
Ndi ku TMR International Hospital.
Yes. So Dr. tumwogeza Oluganda, at least you're happy now, eh? Yeah. So tubadde ku TMR Hospital, bayina app aba TMR, osobolera ddala okugenda ku app eyo, kyonna ne bwoba oyina emergency no clickinga ku emergency bajja kubeera nga tebakuyamba. Bw'oba oyagala PD era n'okoona mu PD bajja kuba nga bakuddamu. Then nga first aid osobola ogifuna ng'oli ku app, then n'omala n'ojja wano ku ddwaliro e Naalia. Balina ne branch endala Bonga. Yes, so mwebale nnyo, mwebalire ddala okubeera nga ate mutulaba. Leero twogedde ku Kamuli ne kuba premature. So Dr. tumusabye wetukomawo twogere ku ulcers mu baana. Musiibe bulungi, mweraba. Shamye Mayanja ly'erinnya lyange, abasinga mu mpita Zubeda.
Executive Media. Focus, innovate, succeed.